As an Asian American, I need my community to hear this. Black people are not the problem. The anti-blackness in our community is. Watching some of you tell on yourselves this week has been absolutely embarrassing. Every time anti-blackness becomes part of the conversation, too many of you immediately reach for the same playbook. Deflect, deny, play victim, blame black people for noticing. The acquittal for Rick Chow happened. People are angry, and they should be. How does a 14-year-old black boy end up dead and nobody is held criminally responsible? What shocked me even more is watching some Asian Americans spend more time attacking black people instead of reflecting on why the reaction exists in the first place. What I keep seeing is a community demanding understanding while refusing to practice it, demanding grace while refusing to extend it, demanding support while refusing accountability. Nobody owes us their money. Nobody owes us their loyalty. Nobody owes us their silence. And if black consumers decide they no longer want to support certain businesses, that is their decision. Many Asian-owned businesses have spent decades building themselves in black communities, serving black communities, and benefiting from black communities. So when people start questioning those relationships, the answer can't be outrage. The answer can't be victimhood. The answer certainly can't be attacking black people for speaking their minds. What some people seem unable to process is that many black Americans are not reacting to one verdict alone. They're reacting to years of experience, years of frustration, years of feeling disrespected, profiled, dismissed, and treated like a problem inside spaces where their dollars were always welcomed. A lot of us watched relatives and community members say things about black people that would make them furious if somebody said the same thing about Asians. What's exhausting is watching the same folks spend more energy attacking black people than confronting anti-blackness within our own community. If your first instinct is to get defensive instead of reflective, you're part of the problem. As Asian Americans, we know exactly what it feels like to be stereotyped, excluded, and treated like we don't belong. That history should have taught us empathy. Instead, for some people, it taught entitlement. That's a hard conversation our community keeps avoiding. Black Americans are not responsible for fixing this. We are. And until more of us are willing to say that part out loud, we're going to keep having the same conversation over and over again, while wondering while trust keeps eroding. And that's the read.
So I came on here because I know I said I was boycotting Asian businesses and I said I wasn't going to get my nails done. But here I am with a fresh set of nails. Yes, because I can do what I want. And they're press-ons, okay? Like I said, I'm going to continue to support black businesses. If you have a black press-on nail company, please drop the link below. These right here, I did buy off the TikTok shop. And it took me maybe 20 minutes to prep them. But I will not be going to Asian businesses, okay? I'm still supporting black businesses. And this is a movement that's going to continue. Basically, it's a fund transfer. We're transferring funds into the black community. That is it. It's not racist. It's a transfer of funds. I will drop the link somewhere down below if you want these press-ons. Again, if you own a press-on company that is black owned, or if you have a black owned nail salon, please drop the company names and states below. I also want to thank everybody for all the support that I've gotten thus far. Keep the movement going.
And yeah, to you Asians that don't like black people, we not coming to spend our money in there. And you might say, well, ain't your fiance Japanese? And he is, and he feel the same way.
Hey, black Americans, have you noticed that throughout this Asian shop owner boycott that we got going on, you got a bunch of Asians popping up saying, well, wait a minute, Rick Chow, he's not the same type of Asian that I am. I'm Japanese, I'm Cambodian, I'm Vietnamese, I'm all this stuff. Interesting, but you told us that we were just black. That I was the same as a Haitian or a freaking Jamaican, that I don't have my own separate lineage group, my own ethnic identity. You know, whenever you mention reparations, you'll get white people saying, well, I'm part Native, so and you shouldn't get it. Were you a part of the tribes who owned black slaves? I was a part of a different tribe. Or you get them saying, I'm Irish. And they mentioned that whole Irish slave bullshit. So every other group out there can distinguish themselves by ethnicity. But suddenly, when it comes to black Americans, we can't. No. Either you respect my damn ethnicity or I hold you all in the same group. Pick one.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Voiceless. Today, we're looking at a painful and sensitive issue that is causing a lot of anger, pain, and argument online. Today's story is about the tension between Black people and Asian business owners after the death of a 14-year-old Black teenager, Cyrus Belton, and the acquittal of store owner Rick Cho. Many people in the Black community are angry because they believe justice was not served, while others are saying the case was more complicated because a gun was involved and the court accepted that there was reasonable doubt. But beyond the court case, this story is really about something bigger. It is about racism, mistrust, pain, business, community power, and how people react when they feel disrespected for too long. Different voices are arguing over whether Black people should boycott Asian-owned businesses, whether this is about hate, or whether it is about economic self-respect.
Now, once again, everyone, including the Asian community, is out here assessing the relationship with Black Americans. Why? Why does everybody want to assess that relationship all of a sudden? It's amazing how a little bit more than a year into very strict delineation, how everybody's just trying to recap and figure out what the problems are. I don't get it. I don't get it, because everybody, felt that they was better off and we were lazy and all of that, right? So I want you to hear what this young Asian woman has to say, and it's definitely nothing against her. But I just want you to hear her, trying to explain about her community.
I've seen a few comments like this with, Asians and Black people fighting in my comment section. And honestly, it shows how little we actually talk about the history behind all of this. The tension didn't just magically appear. It was shaped by decades of laws, segregation, stereotypes, and political narratives that pushed our communities apart. When Asian immigrants first came to the US, they weren't allowed to live just anywhere. Segregation forced them into Black and brown neighborhoods because those are the only areas open to anyone who wasn't white. So Asians and Black Americans were physically close, but not always connected. Different languages, different histories, limited communication, misunderstandings grew out of that. Then in the 1960s, during the Civil Rights Movement, the US created the model minority myth. The idea that Asian Americans were successful, quiet, and proof that racism doesn't exist. That stereotype was never meant to lift Asians up. It was meant to contrast Asians against Black.
Okay, really quick. There's a lot of discourse right now happening on here about white people in Asian markets. Now, if you follow me, you've heard me speak quite a bit about being raised in the San Gabriel Valley, where, I was around predominantly Chinese people. And there's a lot of stuff that I eat and consume that I would say is probably because I developed certain tastes and interests, because of where I grew up, right? And I regularly shop at Asian markets. Regularly. And I know before I started doing that, I was always really worried about people not liking that I'm in the Asian market. In fact, the only reason I started shopping in the Asian market is because my ex, who some of you guys may remember because I used to bring him on here, was part Japanese. And I think for that reason, I felt comfortable going in there with him. But he's Asian in a, Asian people could see that he was Asian, but white people typically couldn't see that he was Asian kind of way. And he would always talk about how he sort of deals with feeling kind of like he's an outsider, even when he is Asian, right? But I wonder what this means for everyone else, right? Because growing up where I grew up, and especially right now, my diet is predominantly Asian food. Very common thing I make is Chinese broccoli and chicken and oyster sauce. It's just I don't know, this is what I eat. If you were to go through all my cupboards, you're going to see mostly Asian shit, So I don't know. I'm kind of curious how people feel about seeing Black folks in the Asian market, because I understand people's concern. I understand people's hesitation. There's a lot of people who come into these spaces and they're there to kind of fetishize or whatever. But some of us just eat Asian food. You know what I mean? So I'm curious. I'm kind of curious about this because I haven't heard anyone else talk about this.
The main issue in here is that many black people feel they have spent their money in businesses where they are not respected. Some people say a boycott is not the same as hate. They argue that boycotting means choosing where to spend your money, not attacking anyone. This is an important point because there is a big difference between refusing to support a business and calling for violence against a whole group of people. Some Asian voices feel they too have faced racism, robbery, threats, and unfair treatment in black communities. So, the problem is not one-sided. There is pain on both sides, but the danger comes when people turn that pain into hate against an entire race. Not every Asian person is racist. Not every black person is violent. Not every business owner mistreats customers. And not every customer enters a store with bad intentions. But when people are hurt, angry, and tired, they often begin to speak in general terms. That is where things can become dangerous. The argument is also about black economic power. To many, black people have the right to support black-owned businesses and keep money in their own community. That part is not wrong. Every community has the right to build itself, protect itself, and support its own people. But the message must be clear. Economic power should be used for justice, not hate.
The way y'all keep coming with excuses as to why these nail shops and other Asian businesses and restaurants and stuff are empty, y'all really don't believe that when black people set their minds to it, that they can actually stick to it and make differences. But then again, yes, y'all do. It's why y'all try so hard to convince us, like white supremacists have always done for so many years, that it doesn't matter when we unify, when clearly it does. But to see y'all writing all these excuses, it's a Monday, oh, it's still too early, or it's this, or maybe just people are standing on their word, black people, and keeping their money in black businesses. Bravo, black people.
And I love you so much. If you want to stand in solidarity with us, we love a good ally. But I'm going to be honest with you. This is not a boycott. This is a change of lifestyle for a lot of us. This is us being more intentional about our people. If it was a boycott, go ahead and do you 3 months. Don't fuck with them. If that's you standing in solidarity, a lot of us have to alter the way that we move to do what we're doing right now. You understand what I'm saying? Most of us, I'm not even going to say, most of us have to alter the way that we move to accommodate this new lifestyle that we're stepping into. Black people are in a transition right now, and our lives are altering. I am a person who goes into a hair store and spend $300, $400 gladly. Y'all see how many wigs I own. So this is something different. This isn't like, oh, well, you know, we'll be back in there. Hell no, I'm not going, because I can honestly say this. Now, the hair store that I specifically go to, they treat me like they're cousins, but they're not Asian people in there. They are, I think, they're not Asian, but they're not Black American either. So I have to let that store go. You understand what I'm saying? And it's sad. I be in there so much, but I'm not going back. If it's not black owned, Black American owned, I'm not doing it, because you have to stand for something or you will fall for anything. And I think that the black community is finally understanding, like, nah, fuck all of that. Now, are we working on stuff as far as we are as business owners? Of course we are. We're going to get better. We're going to grow. We're going to expand. But this is a new economy that we're building for our people. And we don't require solidarity. We don't require nobody else to join in, because we got this. But if you would like to, I would like you to understand, this is not a boycott. This is a lifestyle change. This is a wealth transfer. We're tired of giving our wealth to everybody else. We want it to ourselves. You know?
All I'm saying is that if you are Asian, before you should even be asking the question about who gets to decide who gets to boycott Asian-owned businesses, we need to be having the conversations in our own spaces about whether or not
nobody else to join in, because we got this. But if you would like to, I would like you to understand, this is not a boycott. This is a lifestyle change. This is a wealth transfer. We're tired of giving our wealth to everybody else. We want it to ourselves. you know?
All I'm saying is that if you're Asian, before you should even be asking the question about who gets to decide who gets to boycott Asian-owned businesses, we need to be having the conversations in our own spaces about whether or not anti-Black racism needs to be addressed and have those uncomfortable conversations within our communities. Because I have been doing this for years, right? Have you been doing that before you decided to come online and post a video being like, oh, Black Americans are such hypocrites? Which they are not. They have a right. Like, they have an absolute right, because we do have rampant anti-Black racism. And before we are willing, like, we need to be willing to take accountability for that before we get to decide whether or not anybody should be boycott. Also, it's not even our decision who gets to boycott. Our role, right? And everybody has different roles under systemic oppression, and something happens, is what can I do in solidarity instead of looking at this situation as an us versus them problem? If you're still looking at it from the lens of an us versus them problem, then you are on Rick Chow's side. And I know that people can say like, oh, well, you know what, like I have such a diverse spectrum of ideas and I see things differently. But when it comes to systemic oppression in a world that is made to be black and white, then if you are going to look at this boycotting situation as, oh, you shouldn't boycott us, why should we have to pay for the sins of this one guy? Like, that's not like the systemic playbook, right? Like when one person does harm, or even if it's a few people doing harm, right? Like, if you think about like slavery in the South, even if it was just a few people, a few families running the whole thing, okay? The systemic issue is still the fact that everybody inherited these core belief systems about certain marginalized groups of people, and we are still perpetuating these ideas, right? Like, the issue is that our ideologies are still there, right? And until we're able to address that, why are we even thinking immediately like, oh, actually, I'm going to argue about boycotting, when you should be looking at yourself in a mirror and being like, hey, I realize that I'm contributing, my community is contributing. How have I seen anti-Black racism manifest in Asian spaces? Like, why are these conversations so difficult to have? I don't know. But they need to be had, right? They exist. They exist. People are doing it, some people are not. But when it comes to the question of solidarity, are you for or against? And if you are for, then have the conversations first before you decide who gets to boycott if you are an Asian person.
This story is really asking us to think deeply about respect, justice, and community power. People are tired of being treated like criminals when they enter stores. Families are tired of losing loved ones and feeling like the system does not care. Business owners are also afraid of theft, violence, and losing everything they worked for. So, the real solution cannot be hate. The solution must be trust, fairness, respect, and accountability. If a business disrespects Black customers, they have the right to stop spending money there. If a person commits a crime, that person should be held responsible as an individual. But we should not punish a whole race for the actions of some people. So my question for you today is this: should communities use their money to demand respect? And how can they do it without creating more hate? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching The Voice of the Voiceless. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, stay wise, and always stand for truth.